season on BBC One, it's the exciting new game talent show, The North. Hosted by Arthur Tuppeny, Gladys Crinoline and well-known end-of-the-pier funny man, Bernie Artichoke. Together they form a tough, mostly disgruntled panel of cloth-cap-adorned judges who won't stop complaining that the show is filmed in Birmingham, which is too far south and far too diverse, frightening Gladys so much that she has to stay in her hotel room in case someone asks her the directions to somewhere radical and scary, like a library, or, God forbid, she stumble into a lesbian cooking collective that like to make every meal out of old hemp. Each week, contestants from far and wide, like Helmsley, Ravenstonedale or Stockton-on-Tees, try to out-north each other, while attempting not to mention those soft southern bastards, pork pies, or the lifespan of an otter. This week, don't miss the excellent northern filmmaker Eric Tutbeige, whose film North of the North is about a young boy who befriends a wounded barn owl as a way to cope with his alcoholic, abusive stepfather, played by legendary northern actor Ernie Spleem, who won't let him learn the accordion or try out for the cricket finals because it's too girly and nothing at all like getting black lung in a mine, digging coal for a dying industry like he's done all his life. Filmed on the rainiest week Barnsley scene for a fortnight, it took home the coveted Gold Boredom Award at prestigious Northern Film Festival, the Northies. And can he out-north a man whose trousers are being held up by old string, who's nonchalantly chewing on a parsnip? Only time will tell. Then, following the North at 10 p.m, it's the South. Not to be outdone, the South rolls out some truly horrendous Burks to compete in such rounds as Who Has Less of a Chin, My Other Car's a Mazda, and, well, we call it public school, one presumes in an attempt to make it sound more welcoming and inclusive, when actually it's anything but, which features a distant member of the royal family who's trying to pay off some horrendous hefty parking tickets and a fine for casually interfering with a swan, trying to explain the rules of lawn bowls to some posh children forced to dress in blazers so that they look like some sort of hideous cult of midget bank managers at a golfing retreat. Hosted by Nigel Thingy Mabingity Boing Boing Jones, who you'll know from I'm a Quantity Surveyor, Get Me Out of Here, Lionel Piff, who co-authored a book about the correct way to polish boat shoes, and Celia Face, who tells me she owns plenty of skirts made out of the skins of animals she shot while on holiday in the Harrods Exotic Pickled Fruit and Live Game Department. Don't miss Alan Twat, an estate agent from Woking, as he attempts the hardest challenge of all, explaining why his opinions on immigration aren't born out of an irrational and downright racist fear of nations who are historically better at cricket than us. And then it's across the Atlantic, where the Americans, not to be outdone in the really rather awful and stupid Citizen Stakes, have remade the show The South with their own brand of really rather special ignorance. Wrapped in a Confederate flag, holding a machine gun in one hand and a can of bathtub piss in the other, and grinning wildly, host Buford Sterling, wearing a comically large cowboy hat and a belt buckle depicting Robert E. Lee riding a winged dragon with Jesus and Clint Eastwood, puts a group of deranged nobodies through their paces in such rounds as Toothless with a Banjo, Voting Against My Own Interests, and It's My God-Given Right to Not Know If This Thing Is Loaded or Not, followed by a processional of monster trucks driven by topless bartenders driving over burning effigies of Hillary Clinton through a giant picture of a bald eagle fucking Mount Rushmore. It's all this and more on BBC One Saturday nights, followed on BBC Two by Can Anyone Remember When the BBC Actually Made Programmes with Scripts, and a programme where people in cardigans discuss the political ramifications of Battenberg cake while the most pretentious pug-faced film critic you've ever seen devours his own arse with a trowel. But first, you know the drill.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner with your host, John Cross.
Yea, nay, fip and tipsy, it be me. Hello and welcome to this episode of the After Movie Diner. And before we go over to the actual diner where myself and Mr. Jim Wallace have a discussion about some film or other, I wanted to take the time out to annoy and perturb you. No, I didn't mean that at all. Not to annoy and perturb you. What was the word? Oh, yes, that's right. Sing the praises of all the people who have delved deep into their thigh pockets and supported the diner this month just gone over on patreon.com. That's patreon.com. And there are eight wonderful individuals who have sponsored the show, not just for last month, but for many months. But in this last month, I'd like to give a big shout out to Mr. Chris Salt, Mr. Cole Wheel, Mr. David Brighton, Mr. James Muriel, Mr. James Wallace. Yes, the co-host of this show also supports the show. That's just what a wonderful kind of chap he is. And, well, you know, you couldn't ask for a better person. Judith Taylor, but don't tell anyone, she's my mother. Judith Taylor, Mark Burns, woohoo, Mark Burns, and official artist of the After Movie Diner, Pedro Osmond. Yes, that's correct. Well, I want to say a big thank you to all our patrons who have sponsored and supported the show. You can do it by going over to patreon.com, that's patreon.com, if you didn't know already, /After Movie Diner. It's really that simple. Just go over there, hit the old dollar button, $2 button, $3 button, you name it. There's all sorts of wonderful things you can get. You can get mugs and T-shirts and songs and videos and shout-outs, and I could read a commercial. Let's say you have something you want to advertise to our many listeners, our listening many's, if you like. If you want to do that, you could simply go on our Patreon page and go, you know what, I'm going to sponsor the diner for 3 months at a very reasonable fee, and old John Cross will read out my little promo. Well, all things are possible over here at the After Movie Diner. Check out Patreon, patreon.com /After Movie Diner. There's also a way on aftermoviediner.com to just buy me a coffee. There's this new donation website where you simply just go buy me a coffee. $3, you send it my way. Thank you very much. I go buy a coffee, or rather, I invest it into the website and the podcast and update all the stuff that we need to update, the web presence and the microphone and the recording and the hosting and all that good stuff. Why don't you just do that? If you want to do a one-time donation, go buy me a coffee. It's a button right on the homepage of aftermoviediner.com. And if you really don't have $3 to spend, or even $1 to spare, and, you know, look, we all understand money can get tight, just write us a review on iTunes. Come on, rate and review us on iTunes. We have way more listeners than we have reviews on iTunes, which means a lot of you have not done it. Go rate and review us on iTunes, you lazy, slovenly bastards. Anyway, with that, let's go over to a diner on West 8th called, what's it called? Cozy Soup and Burger. Mad. Good eventide, and welcome to an episode, just an episode of the After
Not
Movie
a special
Diner.
episode. It's not an anniversary episode.
Nothing special about it.
It's just another.
I think special episodes are overdone. I think there's.
How do you mean overdone?
Well, I think there's too many of them. People are always trying to get me to look at stuff because it's the 200th or it's the 300th or it's the 50th.
Yeah, but they have to go through like 100 things before they can make you do that one.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily make.
Do you know what number this is?
Doesn't necessarily make it any better.
This, do you know?
This is probably 258 or something.
So this is about as unspecial as it gets.
Oh yeah, no, it's slap bang in the middle of the unspecial territory.
Do you think there's anything about it that when people come to it in like 2 months, 3 months, and they're like looking over the page, you know, like sometimes there's something about one of them that, like, you know, when you're coming to new podcasts, we get like, catches. Anything about this one? Do you think will catch their eye?
Absolutely nothing.
Probably nothing, right?
In fact, I would say the absence of specialness might catch their eye.
Wow.
They might look at it and they might go, there is literally nothing appealing about this podcast.
I think if you put the photo of me, then it might be the opposite. That might repel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. What I'm really hoping for is to limp by with like 14 listeners.
Are you trying to create like are you like the Lou Reed of podcasts?
I am
trying to create like anti-podcasts, unlistenable garbage.
I think for 258 episodes we've done it almost.
We've perfected it now.
We've perfected it.
So this is it.
Yeah.
This is the one where we hit the magic.
We hit the magic
garbage,
like level of unlistenableness. We are. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I get a bowl of beef chili? I'll have melted cheese on it.
Okay.
And a cup of English breakfast tea with milk, please. For you?
2 eggs over easy, with ham and fries, please.
White toast?
No, rye, please.
Nothing to drink?
No, I'm happy with water.
Can we split the check? Or can we split it up at the counter?
No problem. I do now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before I close it.
Okay, great.
Thank
Thanks.
So yeah, we've reached a staggering level of unspecialness, and
I'd say we've become almost competent.
yeah, almost.
Right.
But what we have to really think about though, and what really I'm doing this for, and why I continue to do this, really,
Yeah.
because there's nothing about it I enjoy.
No.
Like literally on a week-to-week
And
basis.
if it was gonna explode into like a wider,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean, social phenomenon, it would have happened at least probably 200 episodes ago.
It would have already happened.
Like at most, like
In fact-
100 episodes ago.
In fact,
do you know what I mean?
I feel like we peaked early,
Yeah.
and we've just.
When did we
maintained-
peak? I mean, did you peak before I even came on?
No. I mean, yes. Yes, no. Yes. I was trying to think about when you came on. And yes,
Yeah.
we peaked. Yeah.
Still.
Quite a few episodes before you came on, actually.
So I'm like,
But I think.
I'm like Roy Wood.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
He came on the Rolling. Didn't he join the Rolling Stones? Like,
I thought he was from the Rolling Stones from the beginning and then left.
or maybe he did.
I think he left before they peaked.
Who?
Or did he come on later? I don't know.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
very bland. I mean, Roy Wood is one of those people that you mentioned and you just say.
Thank you very much.
But I also, is Roy Wood the right name?
Yeah, I think so. Right? I think.
Who was the other guy in ELO then? I thought he was Roy Wood. Or is that a different guy? Is that like Ron Wood? Jeff Wood? No, they wouldn't have two Jeffs.
many bland-
They couldn't have two Jeffs.
Did ELO have two Jeffs?
No,
I'm starting to think that
ELO only had
two
the one
Jeffs.
Jeff.
He was like, there's only room for one Jeff.
There's
in
only
this
room
band.
for one Jeff. He booted the other Jeff very early. Back when they were called PLO. No?
No, you've gone too far then.
I'm going too
It
far.
was really funny.
Yeah.
Right up until
Two
then.
Jeff. ELO, two Jeffs Lynn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff Lynn.
So anyway,
Maybe there was more than two, and it actually used to stand for 11
Jeffs.
No, wait, for some reason, I got the letter J and the letter L confused.
Well, because you flipped them.
Because
mate.
basically they're the
'Cause you
same.
flipped them.
They're basically the
They're
same
basically
letter.
the same letter. Lionel, you could spell with a J, and it would be
Yes.
Ginal, and everyone would be none the wiser. I don't think anyone would notice.
No one would know.
No one would
Giant
know.
or Blair?
Ginal
Do we
Blair.
not care?
No, it wouldn't be Ginal Blair. It would be Ginal Bajer.
He sounds like an Arab tap dancing entertainer. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Ginal.
Dutch, surely. Ginal Bajer. I don't know why, like, or like Swedish. Ginal Bajer. And now here to make magic omelettes. Ginal Bajer. In Sweden, there's a lot of call for magic omelette.
I think you've cracked. Listen to me, you want to get this translated into Swedish
Yeah.
and call it the Magic Omelette Hour or something. And that's right there.
And do you know what's
That's
funny?
an explosion.
Is my friend Philip O'Neill,
Uh-huh.
who would be called Fijip O'Nij if the LJ swap took
Continued if
hold.
the plague
So
swept the entire globe.
Fijip O'Nij would be able to do that because he's Swedish.
Oh, he's Swedish.
Yeah, and he listens. Well, he used to listen.
Doesn't listen anymore.
Well, I don't know. He's gone to
Not since I started
He's gone to
being-
film school and he's become less responsive.
Or more discerning.
No.
He's
more-
gone to film school and suddenly went, oh, I see. Oh, this is films.
Yeah,
I was under the impression it was something different.
it was.
I must stop listening to that podcast. It was polluting
Wouldn't
my
it,
film
wouldn't it be
knowledge
amazing
with ignorance and whimsy.
If Fijip O'Neill was in his, he was in his halls of residence, right? And he's got his own little like corner room, right?
Where he makes
And-
magic omelettes.
But you know, like when you first get to college,
Right.
you like make the room your own, right?
Right.
So although it's just a kind of cold, hellish bunker of
It's bound to be in Sweden.
inertia, and,
Weirdly,
and
like that's
ennui.
exactly the picture I had
Yeah.
of a college dorm.
Like
in
a
Sweden.
grey concrete room with like
Yeah.
a small bed that still it's not
even the snow is grey.
Yeah, it's not a wooden bed. It's like a spring bed with like an old prison mattress on it, just so that they
like
can
grey breeze blocks,
so they can really feel the ennui in a deep, tedious way, unlike anyone else. And then they can like stare out of the window, which probably has bars on it, even though it's on like the 5th floor. And they probably stare out the window and think, "What is life?" or "What is Jife?"
And then they give them a camera,
and then
they say, "Go at it."
They go at it, and then they make some black
and
white
Swedish film.
A Swedish film, black and white films that most definitely attack Norway because they're not a fan of Norway.
Are they not?
No, Norway to them is like Ireland is to England, and vice versa.
From my previous life, where I have seen Swedish pornography, I can tell you that the Swedish pornography that I saw started off with a 10-minute sequence of a priest walking through the snow.
Wait. You've seen Swedish pornography like as part of your job?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my old
Playboy.
Job, for Playboy.
Right.
And it started off with it was like a cross-cutting thing, but half of the cross-cutting, the other half wasn't like sex. It was like a woman getting ready for something or other.
Right.
And the other half
they had to set the scene.
Was a priest walking across like a snowy square, and there were like close-ups of like ravens looking at the priest as he walked across the snow, and I thought, Swedes have got a funny idea of what's sexy. I'll say that.
That, mate, in Sweden is like the hottest foreplay.
It's like contemplating the inevitability of death.
Yeah, right.
It's what gets them really sweaty.
It is, while probably burning Sibelius records because they're not a fan of Finland either. I've just decided that Sweden doesn't really like
everybody.
The other Nordic. The other Nordic countries.
Anyone that's nearby.
Yeah. So they're like, Sibelius. Why weren't you
Sibelius records?
Why wasn't Sibelius born in Sweden so you could write about the majesty of Sweden? Instead, you're writing about
the ravens,
lakes and
ravens and the priests.
Lakes and hills in Finland, and nobody cares about Finland.
Every time I read or hear anything about Finland, and I don't know if you're the same as me, but every time
I read a lot about Finland.
But
People are always talking about it.
But that's the thing.
Especially in this current political climate, Finland is it's just a power. It's a hot potato in the global.
I don't want to get bogged down in the whole, Finland quagmire, Finnish quagmire.
The Finnish political.
But that's my point. Is that it crops up so rarely. But every time it does, I find myself at least for the next half an hour singing the Finland song.
So the Monty Python Finland song.
Always. Yeah. It's just one of those things.
And so for the 15 people still listening...
that's generous.
No, it is. I think that... Oh, that's perfect, Chief. Thank you so much. I don't know why I have crackers.
Oh, that's for me.
Oh, that's for your chili.
That's for me and my invisible chili.
Your invisible chili.
Should we talk about what we're doing?
No, not yet. No. What I wanted to say, way back before we got into the whole...
Before I distracted you.
Is that... I feel that the podcast has a small but loyal listener base.
Well, it is better.
Yeah, and I feel that I do this I put myself in immense discomfort every week.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. That is like a perfectly square bit of cheese.
I like that. They charged me $150 for just dropping a piece of American cheese.
What? So wait a minute.
They didn't even grate. They just dropped
cheese on the top was an extra $150.
Yeah.
God, they're running a cheese-based racket in this stuff. That is literally one craft single.
Mind you, that is a lot of chili for $7.
In fact, it's probably not even a craft single. It's probably like a
ShopRite.
ShopRite owned.
Yeah, ShopRite own brand American cheese, which when you look at it closely, it actually says like cheese-flavoured product.
Yeah. So what you've got there, mate, is a $1.50 cheese-flavoured product on top of your...
Yellow. I've got $1.50 yellow. Some yellow. Can I have some yellow on my chili, please?
Some yellow.
I find your chili's very brown. Can I have some yellow on it?
Could I have some square yellow?
It's too circular and too brown.
Yeah.
Bring me some square yellow
Square
now.
Yellow, which is also one of Sweden's top recording artists. Only now he's called Square Yejo.
I'm beginning to understand why Philip Fidget O'Neij doesn't listen anymore.
So, isn't I Am Curious Yellow, wasn't that a Swedish film? So I'm close, right, with the whole square yellow thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're right on the money, mate.
Oh, yeah. Fucking uncanny.
But I
The way
feel
you
like...
seamlessly weave.
I think you're right. I feel like if we had... We would have already peaked, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And we haven't peaked, so we just have to be happy with what we've got.
Yeah.
And I am happy with what we've got.
Our trough has, like... I don't know,
Put it this way,
smoothed
though.
out.
Put it this way, though.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way.
All right.
Would you rather
Yeah.
a trough with nothing in it,
Right.
right? A trough that was overflowing, but somehow you were forced to eat it. Like there was like almost like
You know I'm about to eat a bowl of brown chili.
It's fine. No, I'm
You
not
be
going to go
careful
there.
with
No, I'm not going to go
vegetables
there. I'm just saying
going,
a trough full of food. It's full of food.
Right.
But there is like a commandant, like an evil German commandant, who's like forcing your face into it, going, eat, schnell, and like forcing you to eat it.
Right.
Or
Right.
a trough with like a modicum of food in it,
Right.
a moderate portion of foodular type stuff,
Right.
and you can just eat at it like once a week.
And that's what we are.
That's what we are.
We're sort of the oral equivalent of realising you've been looking at your watch for a while, but nothing's really happened, but time has passed. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that some podcasts that get successful, the success is tied.
It's ruining them.
Well, no.
Not like we remain unspoiled.
We do. We remain very much unspoiled, unlike my pants. But no, our other podcasts that gain success and notoriety, they are forced, in order to maintain that popularity, to not only produce a product every week, but keep the level, like the quality level of that product high. And not only that, but improve over time. So
and we are forced to do neither.
we are forced
and
to do
so
neither.
we don't.
And so we don't. So that's what I mean. We have it better, mate. That's what I'm trying to say.
Free from an audience, free from expectation.
No, we have an audience.
Free from an audience's expectations.
They're just not an audience that
Expect.
cares too much.
Or rather, fortunately, what they expect is exactly what you deliver.
Yeah, which is, if it's anything like this Dynamite, a dirty fork.
Yeah. Mine's clean.
I will take your fork then, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you go for it, mate.
So,
Yes.
after that introduction, which I feel like we needed to do because I don't know that I've got much to say about the movie.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the listening mennies what we saw tonight and what it was all about, Alfie?
Tonight, Jeff.
Tonight, listeners.
Tonight, Jeff.
Tonight, Jeff.
We went and saw Rampage, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah.
Where
Not an L in his name.
no,
No.
it was a J though.
Yeah.
Like Dwayne "The Rock" Lonson doesn't really work as well.
We're getting rid of the L, mate. We're
Oh,
tossing
we're
it.
losing the L.
We're losing the L.
I get it. Everything that's L is now J.
Is now J.
Hence EJO,
Yeah.
Electric Jeff Orchestra.
Yeah.
Or 11 Jeff, which is
Well,
my
not
original
electric.
joke.
It would be ejectric. The ejectric
The
Jite Orchestra.
Jeff trick.
The ejectric Jite Orchestra. With Jeff Chin.
So the thing about Rampage is, it's about how Dwayne Rock is friends with a 50-foot gorilla.
No. He's friends with an albino gorilla.
He's friends with a normal-sized
with
albino
a
gorilla.
normal-sized albino gorilla that he saved from poachers when he worked for the crack anti-poaching squad of the United States that apparently goes round the world saving animals.
United
from
Nations.
poachers. No, it's the United States.
No, it's the United Nations.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
There was almost no words in the movie, so I did catch most of them when they
but
happened.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson also, prior to having been an international poacher hunter,
Yeah.
had also been Special Forces.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's so good at being Special Forces that his entire file is redacted.
Yes.
Even someone from the shadowy agency of shadows couldn't find out what was redacted in his file, because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has literally never failed at anything and is the most superb spy, / poacher hunter / zoologist / primate knower. Oh, and he's an expert sign language person as well.
That's true, he is. He's very good at everything, only he doesn't like people.
Right.
There's sort of a half-assed attempt at the end there to have him care about people.
Yeah.
I feel like that might have been bigger in the film, but they. What I liked about this movie most of all is they took out most of the rubbish dialogue.
Yeah.
And they replaced it with as many like zing or zing adjacent
There was definitely
liners that they could fit in, which I'm all for.
There was definitely a lot
1 in
of
5 hit, I thought.
1 in 5. There was definitely a lot of adjacent zingers, or zinger adjacent rather.
Yeah.
Who is also a big singer in Sweden.
Zing adjacent.
Zinger adjacent. He sings that one about the clogs that will never be polished.
Oh, that is a sad song.
It is a sad song.
It makes me want to walk across a snowy square, being stared at by ravens.
For there is a scratch and a stain on my clogs that will never be
clean,
wiped dry.
So shall we burn the Sibelius records before the night gets too old?
No, wait a minute. The night's already too old. It's gone.
The night was born old in Sweden.
Let us slob off into the darkness, cursing our very existence, to go eat a bowl of cold porridge in a gulag somewhere.
But isn't it Norway that has lots of extra J's? They just like sling J's in where they're not needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sweden resents them for that.
Yeah. They probably nicked all their J's.
In the great...
You don't need that J in the field. Yes, we do.
In the great 1928 J Cull, the Sweden-Norway J Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway...
Let me do a brief summary.
No, I'm just about to say that...
All right, sorry.
What I love... Right, there's two things in any movie that will probably make me like them.
Yeah.
One is an exploding helicopter.
Yeah.
The other one is a line where, out of nowhere, whoever he is, whether he's a zoologist, a postman, an office worker, whatever, he go, oh, well, he was former special ops. Because what that line means is that at the end of the movie, when he's like single-handedly using grenade launchers to bring down a beastie, or, I don't know, knows how to fly a helicopter, or whatever it is, wrenching weapons from things and using them to whatever, or when he gets shot, all these things are explained away with this genius piece of dialogue. Well, he was in special ops. He's in special ops? Oh, well, that means he can chew helicopters and repel grenade launchers. That makes sense then, because of course we in America train everyone to be the highest level. I mean, the highest level. Special ops, they're so special, mate, you don't even know it. You don't even know
it. It is a little bit of a but no, I agree.
Special ops, that means he can turn invisible and fly, and he poops bullets.
It's so...
Because he was in special ops.
It's so you don't have people staring at a chef or a zoologist.
Right.
Flying a helicopter, firing missiles from a helicopter.
Right.
And go, when did the zoologist learn how to pilot an attack helicopter?
Right.
Special ops, mate.
Yeah. In every single Jason Statham film, every single one, even the ones where he's just, I don't know, sat around talking, in every single Jason Statham film, there is the line, wow, he used to be a Marine, didn't he? Or he used to be Special Ops, or he used to be SAS, or he used to be...
Depending whether he's trying to spend the first 5 minutes of a film pretending to have an accent.
Yeah. Like, even in Meg, I guarantee in Meg, where he's fighting the Megalodon, which is the best line in any trailer ever, Jason Statham in an underwater pod looking at a giant shark and going, oh my god,
I am looking forward to that.
It's the Megalodon.
Is that actually coming out in the cinema?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So even in Meg, where he's like a diver and a shark expert, I guarantee there'll be a line, well, he used to be Special Ops. Oh, well, that explains how he can punch sharks into it.
It was during Special Ops that he gained his love of fish. But, and he does not like to talk about this, his best friend, Colin the fish, was killed by fish poachers in the South China Sea.
Yeah. And now he has it in for all
Yeah, and now he doesn't like people.
Right.
So you, good-looking new fish bird,
Right.
you better stay out of his way.
But it was like in Hurricane Heist,
Right.
where they were like, oh, he used to be in Afghanistan. Oh, well, that means he can jump from trucks while escaping a massive hurricane.
That's true. Can't move for truck jumping hurricanes in Afghanistan. One of the reasons why it's not going so well over there, actually.
So go back to your explanation.
Sorry. Dwayne The Rock... Dwayne
Based
The
on a
Rock,
video game.
right. Based on a video game, which I didn't know that it was, actually. So, all right. So, to begin with, there is a space station where they are doing secret experiments to develop magic gas that, when breathed by animals, turns them into massive, fast, invulnerable killing machines. Because the what's the word I'm looking for?
The military?
Yeah, but okay, that's another thing that you always get in the movies with the special ops and the exploding helicopter, is whatever bad people are doing. And I blame Alien for this,
Right.
although possibly it goes back to even before that, where they go, oh, well, the reason that there are these monsters is because of the military. And the military have no use for a 200-foot killer crocodile that it can't control or kill.
Yeah, but listen, mate. Think about it, right? You have an issue, Syria, for example. What if you could say, let's unleash
a
the
crocodile.
unwieldy part alligator, part dinosaur, part pufferfish, whatever the hell it was. We'll just unleash that.
It's like...
But how would you control it? You'd need some sort of mind rate. Oh, it's all right, mate. We've stuck that on top of a building. That'll bring them all back to Chicago. And no matter where they are in the world, bring them all back to Chicago. But won't that destroy Chicago? Oh, no, it will actually destroy Chicago.
I grant you that the plans of the evil people in the movie. Let me get through the plot.
Malin Ackerman?
It was interesting because I suddenly realised that that's something that happened in those movies too, where they explain the existence of the uncontrollable nightmare by saying, well, the military wants it. It's the same as like, the military want to get their hands on alien technology, the alien technology. Why? What are they going to do? Replace their blood with acid and get blown up by machine guns? Because that's all aliens actually do when you think about it.
Right.
Just because they skitter around and look shiny. Well, we could do that with a fucking tin of paint and some roller skates.
But sir, it's the audacity and the arrogance of man or humanity that they can control said thing. They're like, oh well, you weren't able to control the uncontrollable killing. However,
please get the aliens to fall in.
I've got a special pill, gun, hat, whatever it is, that we put on the alien. Like if it was a bowler hat, that when you put on the alien, it went, quite.
I just feel like
I feel dressed up now.
First, and then go and find the alien later. Do you know what I mean? Don't go find the uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So, well, this is just an accident waiting to happen. That, as far as I can tell, has no real world value. Like, what are the applications that you're looking to do here?
Right.
Well, what if we had acid for blood? I think that would be wildly inconvenient, wouldn't it?
Also, in this movie, and this will explain some of the plot.
Right.
So, in this movie,
Right.
is it Malin Ackerman, or whatever her name is?
Yeah. Why do I know that name, and where do I know her face
She's been
from?
in a bunch of stuff, but I think she's Swedish as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think there's so.
That's why we're thinking about it.
Yeah, so it's probably Majin Ackerman now at this point. Because the Norwegians, Norway stole all their J's,
They did.
L's, or whatever it is.
And the great... No. It was Jay's they stole in the Great
was
Jay
Jay's.
Pile of 1928. You may not remember your jokes, mate.
No,
I
know.
do.
Good. And then Blandy McBlanderson, her quivering flop-haired brother or whatever it is.
I do feel that... Okay.
Hang on a second.
Sorry.
So, they run a corporation, right? A scientific corporation. It's never actually explained, like, what they do on their day-to-day business, right? They just do stuff that's the science, mate.
Or what their plan for the 200-foot long killer crocodile actually is.
Right, but get this, right?
Right.
They have tens of billions of dollars, right? Because that's what they lose at the beginning when the spaceship blows up.
Right.
So get this. They're a company, they do science. I don't know what science, but they do science.
Science, yeah.
So it's all right, science. Boom. Tens of billions of dollars that they have lying around. and they go, you know what we're going to do with these tens of billions of dollars?
Right.
Put it in space, mate.
Right.
And genetically engineer mutant rats, right, in a space station, right? Not particularly known for their robust nature, considering they have to be made of a certain material that will be able to orbit the Earth and blah, 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 blah. They're not, let's say, if a giant mutated rat started tearing its way through your spaceship, which, by the way, is the upshot of any kind of genetic modification on rats in space, that will most definitely happen. If that happens, then you're out tens of billions of dollars, right? And you lose your giant genetic mutated rat. Do you know what you could have done?
Go on then.
You could have stayed on Earth, not spent the tens of billions of dollars, and I don't know, gone on holiday.
Okay, can I just say this though, right? I will say this about
let me just finish my thought. So clearly, the idea about sticking the spaceship up in the orbit and developing mutant rats is to make more money, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to sell it or you want to whatever. No, because at one point he says we could sell the serum and we'll be rich, right? And I'm thinking, you were rich. In fact, you still are rich. You were rich enough that last night your boss, Malin Ackerman, went, throw up an antenna that attracts large mutant creatures, will you? And a bunch of guys threw it up in a night. That's true. That's pretty rare. This incredibly robust, because 3 large mutant animals tried to tear it off the top of the building. They don't manage it. In fact, they pull the whole building down. It's that robust. Knocked it up in a night.
So I would say this about the movie, right? Let me just do a very quick run through.
Go all the way. I'm going to eat.
Okay. So a very quick run through is evil corporation conducting experiments in space whereby they're developing a serum that turns animals into giant killer monsters. There's an accident at the space station. 3 samples survive and crash down onto American soil in 3 different places, creating a massive wolf, a massive alligator, and a massive gorilla, who also, and unhappily for the evil corporation, who want to, get at least samples from the animals. The big gorilla is best friends with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The gorilla and the wolf then proceed to cause havoc, with The Rock trying to kind of, stop his friend. Actually just survive. And then the evil corporation decides, which is what you were just referencing, that the best plan is to stick a giant radio signal right next to their escape plan and
on the roof
turn
of
it
their
on,
building.
and then wait until the animals are climbing up the building before they take the escape route. And then there's they find one bit of antidote which they give to The Rock's friend
George, the albino
gorilla. And it doesn't cure him, it just makes him much less aggressive, like brings him back to his normal self. And then the rest of the movie is The Rock and the gorilla trying to stop downtown Chicago from being destroyed by a flying wolf and a massive alligator. Now, can I just say this?
What?
All the thing. When I watch dumb monster movies or any kind of a dumb movie, really, Hurricane Heist included, I'm always thinking the same thing. When I don't enjoy it, right? I'm always thinking, I wish they'd forget explaining everything when this is all obviously nonsense. And I wish they just had lots of fun action, make sure everybody involved is clearly having a ball,
right?
And just turn everything into a relatively good one-liner, and maybe every now and then one will hit.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I will enjoy your movie.
Yeah.
And this is exactly that movie. This is that movie.
It is exactly
the plot is, and what I like about it is they don't even try. I saw that the story was by a guy and the script was by a guy, and it was rewritten by 3 blokes. One of whom is Carlton Cuse, who's the guy that wrote Lost, and also I think Prometheus.
I don't know. He also did he's done a ton.
Yeah,
I've got a feeling like he wrote one of the Lethal Weapons or something.
Emily Possible, but he's a big script doctor, so
And
clearly
he one of the producers and creators of Briscoe County Jr.
Oh, well, there you go. So my point is that they gave the script to a bunch of people who clearly removed all the plot and just replaced it with, jokes and silliness.
Well, also,
I'm all for that.
It was very abundantly clear that it was actually like 3 scripts that were tied together. Because you've got the whole opening sequence, right, where he's got his trusty but schlubby and ugly nerdy sidekick.
Right.
You've got your newbies, one of which is a hot chick and one of which is like a nervous guy who's trying to be all cool but ends up like whatever.
Yeah, they would have been in the first draft and then written out.
Right. That whole group, including his best friend with the glasses and everything, who's the only guy who really understands him, right? They all disappear. But they don't even come back at the end. It's not even like he calls her up and goes, give me a nerdy solution to this problem. And he goes diddly-dip, diddly-dip. Like, then there's the middle bit, right, which is where you've got the evil guys and they send a paramilitary or private military group headed up by True Blood.
That was immensely pleasing.
True Blood and Magic Mike's Joe Montenegro. Joe Montenegro. I'm going to go with that.
JP Montenegro.
JP Montenegro. Jeff
Montenegro.
He goes off and he's fighting them.
We should, from henceforth, because I feel like if we are going to expand the reach of the podcast,
right?
I feel like every villain where we don't know the actor's name, we should call them Jeff Montenegro. I just feel like this is the thing we need to call them.
Or Dr. Muscles.
I prefer Jeff Montenegro.
Because what was it that John really liked about the Dr. Yorkshire? Dr. Yorkshire.
Yeah.
So anyway, JP Montenegro, there's a whole sequence where he's set up as the future antagonist.
Yeah, it's going to be like Dwayne The Rock versus bad guy from... Yes, you're right. That would have been another... So you got this... You're right. There's a story where it's Rock and his 3 mates from the zoo who are the ones that go along on this adventure. Right. And there's another version of the script where the Rock and it's not really about the animals. Actually, it's about man. Right. That's my take on this script. It's actually about man. Right. And it's about Dwayne The Rock. Coming to terms with his demons, and he's actually going to take on this guy who's soulless soldier, he's like Iron Man but Jeff Bridges, or Hulk but Tim Roth. It's like the same guy, only the dark version of.
Yeah.
And then whoever got the final draft of the script just went, nah, fuck that, he's dead.
Fuck that, he's dead.
Leave them behind. You've got The Rock. And he would have sat down in a meeting and went, look, you've got The Rock, and then you've got 3 giant killer monsters, one of whom is friends with The Rock. You should have The Rock team up with his friend, the killer monster, to take on the other 2 killer monsters. And they went, I don't have enough money to write you for that idea. Yeah. Because if we'd been stuck with the first movie, would have been okay, but would have been, I'm assuming, much smaller scale, a bit more about environmental conservation versus the evils of corporation, kind of dull. Second one would have been super boring. We'd be like, where are the monsters? I don't care about some True Blood bloke taking on The Rock.
And at the end of the first film, whatever that film was, the joke would have been like, you've all graduated with flying colours or whatever, that, right?
Yeah.
And then the third movie, which is the movie that we end up watching, is getting Jeffrey Dean Morgan, everyone's favourite bad guy from Walking Dead, who plays Negan,
who teeters on the edge of being really annoying, sort of pulls it off.
No, he goes full blown, this is his audition for the next Tarantino film. This is him trying to do a character that wouldn't exist in anything else other than a movie.
No, that's true. But then again, I don't mind.
No, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. In fact, this is one of the first things that I've seen Jeffrey Dean Morgan in that I absolutely, truly loved him.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't annoy me at all. I really enjoyed it.
There were bits where he was nearly annoying.
So he sachets in a black suit with an enormous pearl-handled handgun.
Gold?
No, it's pearl. He's got the pearl handle.
Right.
shoved like unwieldy into like a front holster that like dangles.
His jacket is always tucked behind.
His jacket is always tucked.
You can always
behind.
see the gun,
and he's always even though he never uses it in the whole movie. Right, and using a ridiculously overblown Texan Southern drawl, right, and he is loving it. He is beansing it up to the max. Like it is max beans. He is throwing max beans all over the place.
No, I'm alright. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So he shows up, and the woman that I used to work for Energine or whatever it was called, used to work for the Evil Corporation, and the Evil Corporation also screwed her over, so she's got like a personal vendetta. She shows up. She also happens to know a lot about...
She also gets more backstory than anybody else in the whole movie put together.
Yeah.
She's like, she used to work for them, she was screwed over, she tried to stop them, she got sent to jail, it all happened because of her brother, who died while she was in jail, so she never got to say goodbye. It's like, this woman has a whole TV series worth of issues that he sorted out. They don't even introduce them all,
right?
And they're never addressed again. Like she doesn't, save her brother.
But I think there's probably 3 of those plot strands that were in different scripts, and they got to the end of the movie, and they went, "Oh damn, we shot all 3 reasons for her to hate them." And it's like, whatever, it's complexity.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's not really, is it? But okay. So her, The Rock, and then eventually George of the Jungle all team up. Oh, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
And Jeffrey
Dean Morgan, who sachets about the place, inexplicably solving all problems.
He's almost like a... He's like a Deus Ex Machina on his own. He's like wanders in going, oh, here are the keys to the helicopter.
Yeah.
I can tell the guy to call off the bomb threat. What's amazing about it, in a film about 3 monsters tearing apart an entire city, at no point, that's not really true, but that whole element of, like, will it all work out is never in doubt.
No, it's never in doubt.
You know what I mean? It's too much fun.
They even add the hoary old cliche of the military guy who calls in like the largest bombs, less than nuclear, they're not nuclear, but like the largest non-nuclear weapons that the army have to bomb downtown Chicago, regardless of the fact that there are like millions of people in the city and The Rock and military and everything else. No, like it's not till the 11th hour that someone goes, quick, look at the satellite that there are people there, that he suddenly goes, oh yeah, there are people. I'm like, wouldn't you know that? But anyway, it's irrelevant.
Actually, what I like about that is he goes, turn on the monitor so that you can see that The Rock has teamed up with the gorilla and is fighting the monsters. And they turn on the TV, and there's The Rock there, and the gorilla is fighting the crocodile. They go, oh yeah, the gorilla and the bloke have teamed up to fight the crocodile, so it's all fine. You just saw a picture. Yeah. What I would see is the monsters are fighting each other, and there's one guy there launch the bombs with all speed.
Right. But no, he realizes...
Nothing in this picture says it's all fine.
He realizes the error of his ways, and he calls on the bomb. But they even have the hoary thing of the bomb strike, which they kind of back out on. Like there is a build-up to it. There is like, we're 2 minutes away with whatever.
Yeah, but you're right, it's never really
But it's not really the ticking clock scenario, because you're like, well then, the end of this movie is not they bomb The Rock and kill him. That's not the end. I mean, maybe the end of this movie is The Rock jumps on the flying wolf and, like, flies away from the bomb.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's the end of it.
I give a lot
of... The Rock eats the bomb.
Or The Rock eats the bomb. I give a lot of credit to the people that took the movie and did with it that if we'd gone to see the first movie or the second movie, well, actually, I think probably the second movie, we'd have gone, why did they have to concentrate on the guy? Why didn't they just have The Rock, like, I don't know, team up with the gorilla and take on the monster? You know, it's the kind of thing that if we'd read the script or seen the movie, we'd have gone, you should just do that. And they did it. And it's not like a polished, like, start to finish, like, you know, sometimes you get those movies. I'm not like, I don't know, Independence Day or whatever. But like the people involved, they know what they're doing and they planned it out and it worked. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Independence Day is like the greatest film of all time, but they, you know, they had a plan and they pulled it off, and it's a great movie, right? But this one is like, how do you turn a movie where you've got an idea about monsters and The Rock and Chicago and all the rest of it, and you've got the money, you've got the backing, and you're quite far along, how do you turn that into a good movie?
Right.
By virtue of basically, locking people in a room and making them write the script until it works.
Right.
This is that movie.
And it's funny, I saw The Rock talking about the movie on Jimmy Kimmel the other night. And he said at one point, he was like, because Jimmy said, the CGI is really great. And he goes, it is. We had Weta, who did Lord of the Rings and various other movies. And he's like, what they do for George that actually really does help the movie is that they had it motion capture. There was a guy, and this is no word of a joke, this is what The Rock said. I mean, okay, maybe it's a complete lie, who knows? But he's like 6'9" or something, like he's a big guy. And they literally, a year ago, while they were writing the script, sent him off to study gorillas. Like watch footage of gorillas, go to the zoo to see gorillas, whatever it is. Because he was going to be doing the motion capture thing.
What? By the way, what's the betting that he spent the whole year like on the sofa, eating crisps, counting his money, and then the day before the meeting, he's like, "Shit, I better watch that documentary about gorillas."
Yeah.
And he totally does it. They go, "Fucking hell, mate, this is magic." A year you spent doing this. I'm no word of a lie. A year I spent studying gorillas to get the gorilla impression.
No, but I'm just saying.
No, I get what you're saying. But it does work because it is very believable.
Yeah.
And even the bit, I can't believe, I've never gone with like shock at a CGI monster.
I covered my mouth. Yeah. I was so upset.
I know. It gets like get the spear through, and you're going, "Oh my God, George is hurt." The CGI gorilla is hurt by the giant alligator. Now that's a movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is a movie. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I literally gasped like an old woman and covered my mouth.
Yeah. Thank you.
Which
that's a testament to a good
blows
movie.
my mind.
We're not sitting there going, how deliciously ironic.
No.
Like, we're probably like, oh my God, I hope George is okay.
Right, because I want a sequel where George and The Rock go on a road trip.
Okay, so here's my question, right?
The sequel is not more fighting monsters. They go on a road trip and, I don't know, punk famous people.
So it's like a remake of Any Which Way,
but I would totally go for that.
But it's The Rock and a 50-foot gorilla.
Yeah.
Joe, you broke another restaurant.
Yeah, it writes itself.
But what I want to know is, right, clearly the rat was supposed to be the end sequence that you were talking about.
What do you mean?
Well, that rat, in the little rat in the cage, is entirely too important for the whole movie.
Right.
She's got the rat, make sure you bring the rat, and then the brother's carrying the rat, and then Jeffrey D. Morgan's like, why don't you give me the rat? You leave the rat behind. And he takes the rat, and then he gives the rat to a soldier to take his money. He goes, why don't we exchange? You take the rat and I'll take the money. Right. I'm spending an awful lot of time with this rat.
Right.
And then nothing. But I assumed the end sequence was going to be like, the rat's going to go, you know, like a little bit like brr.
Well, I wanted an ending sequence.
Well, that was. I'm telling you, it was going to be like the rat in the rubble, like forgotten about, like getting too big for the cage.
Yeah,
that was going to be the sequel.
But they set it up because The Rock's like, well, we're going to kill everyone at the end. How do we do a sequel in case this makes $1 bajillion? Which I really hope it does.
It might make enough. I don't know how much it cost. I know it had like state-of-the-art CGI, no question, but a lot of the rest of it...
It's a couple of $100 million.
Yeah, maybe.
Even that Central Intelligence movie cost like $100 million with him and Kevin Hart in it.
Well, the money would be The Rock, wouldn't it? Because it's not as if they spent any money on the supporting cast.
Oh, I don't know. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's got
but he's TV.
A little bit cachet.
Oh,
he's done movies in the past.
Yeah, but the last movie he was a lead in was a small IFC horror exorcism movie that didn't do very well.
Oh. Okay.
And he wasn't the lead, he was just like the dad.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is
the dad.
The dad?
The dad, question mark.
Yeah. I don't know. It was joyful.
I could definitely see a Rampage too.
It was joyful. And I would watch a Rampage too.
I'm just happy that these things are getting made. I'm happy there's a Rock takes on terrorists in a skyscraper with a false leg. I'm happy there's a rock and a 50-foot gorilla. Like these are movies,
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like maybe there's a thing where it's like, oh, what's the zeitgeist and what are we living in and blah. Just we have movies about monsters destroying things and people trying to stop them. Like it's worked for ages. Let's just try that. That's why I'm down with all those trailers for let's take a hoary old 80s comedy cliche and just put women in it instead. It's like, that's fine. I don't care. Will it be funny? In which case, yeah, I'm all for that.
But were the old 80s movies that funny either? Like remaking Revenge of the Nerds or whatever, but with women. I mean, it's...
Well, you could do that, couldn't you, I suppose?
Well, that's kind of what they do. I mean, not really, but...
What?
Well, the Melissa McCarthy goes back to college thing is like Never Been Kissed meets Revenge of the Nerds meets...
I get. Well, it depends. The thing about Melissa McCarthy is, at some point, they need to have her mercilessly insult somebody because nobody insults people in movies better than Melissa McCarthy.
They get a napkin, but yeah.
Right.
The After Movie Diner will return right after this.
This is a promo for a podcast called The Chris and Chris Show. I'm Chris with a C.
And I'm Chris with a K. The Chris and Chris Show is a movie podcast where myself and my colleague, Chris with a C,
hello,
discuss our thoughts on films from a wide variety of genres, all in our own inimitable style.
Here's what the masses are saying about the show. Funny, irreverent film analysis.
Reviews are great and spot on. Subscribe now.
The Chris and Chris Show is a slickly produced and fun podcast with two gents who have great chemistry.
They sound like two old men.
I don't read that one.
Oh, sorry. Keeps me intrigued and keeps me entertained.
There you have it. What are you waiting for? Head on over to www.wafo.fm.
The audio equivalent of dysentery.
Stop reading the bad ones. What are you doing? Anyway, head on over to wafofm.com. That's WAFUFM.com to check out the show or subscribe to The Chris and Chris Show on iTunes.
Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Chris and Chris Show. That's Chris with a C, Chris with a K.
Lovely.
The biggest load of I've ever heard.
What are you doing?
It's just me, it's just me, it's just me. That's right, I'm interrupting my own advertising segment to just say, why don't you listen to the Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast? That's right, the Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast. The Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast. That's correct. It is the greatest single podcast about Moturn Media that has ever existed. Matt Farley, who is a phenomenal gent, has written over 19,000 songs, ladies and gentlemen, and throughout the history of Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast and the Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast has discussed at length just how he's done it. Head over to Moturn, that's MOTERN media.com to listen to the latest episodes of the Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast. It's splendid.
We'll do it live. F*** it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Hi, I'm Jay Mayo.
And I'm Marie.
Shut up.
I'm Marie.
Shut up.
I'm Marie Forster.
And we are co-hosts of Hold the Mayo podcast.
Hold the mayo.
Hold the mayo.
All right, give me ham on 5, hold the mayo.
We're two local comedians, and here on Hold the Mayo, we talk about all the different things that are going on in our daily lives.
Or in your case, your pathetic dating life.
Or in your case, your obsession with pizza.
Or in your case, you're Gatham for Statham.
Yeah? Well, at least I'm not obsessed with Guy Fieri.
At least I'm a gang leader.
No, you're not. You're just always trying to overthrow invisible gangs.
No, I'm cool in the gang.
No, you're... Oh, my God, the puns are the worst.
Mayonnaise, really? That stuff is for sandwiches.
Listen, you guys can find us all across the internet. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and everywhere else that podcast can be found. You can also find us all across social media. We're on Twitter at Hold the Mayo Pod, Instagram at Hold the Mayo Podcast, and of course, we have a Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Hold the Mayo Podcast.
Don't forget, you can also find Jay crying on his couch every single night.
Thank you so much.
F***ing thing sucks.
And just end it with a fart.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling.
No, I'm just eating jammy toast, and I want to be able to
the
wipe
jam out
the
your
jam
beard.
off my mustache.
With your beard. Jam beard. It was very,
Don't
very
call me Jambi.
Don't call me Jambi. You should definitely see it on the big screen.
Which, by the way, is my new album coming out a week from now. Don't call me Jambi.
What are you actually going to call it?
Former Glory.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a bad title?
I don't know. Is the cover going to be you in the chair with the long hair?
No.
Then, yeah, it's not a good title.
Should it be that cover with me with the long hair? And...
Definitely. It's such a good picture of you. And it's like you sitting in that chair. Think about it this way, right? Who you were in that picture, right? If you could say to that guy, one day you will do an album with lots of friends, guest starring on it, and at the time you'll have an enormous beard and you'll be living in New York, he'd be very proud of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he'd be very proud of you. And so I think you should honour him by putting that.
What?
That's a really authentically weird laugh.
Well, because it's fake.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I get your point.
Yes, but it's up to you. But I just think that guy in the chair at that time would be very proud of you for making this music. And if he heard that music, I think he'd really love it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Don't you think that you, age 13, sitting in that chair, if listening
16,
to...
mate. At least 16 or 17.
16 with that hair?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. So 16-year-old you, sitting in that chair, if he could hear this album that you've made, he would love it.
Probably.
So dedicated to him.
All right, that makes sense.
I mean, when you think about it, most of your life, or a lot of the decisions in your life have been made to one of the wishes of that 16-year-old boy sitting in that chair.
Right, because really I haven't grown very much.
Well, no, none of us have.
Right.
But I was seriously, how many decisions in your life up to this point have you made because it's what he would have wanted?
You're right. You are right.
Thank
You
you
know,
very much.
ever so often.
Just every now and then.
Every now and then.
Like a stop clock.
Yeah. You're like a fucked clock.
Like
You're
a
right.
fucked clock.
You're right twice in a lifetime.
A very special clock.
It is. It's a nuclear clock, counting down to Armageddon and the destruction of everything.
Which is, do you think, in all seriousness, do you think that's why? Because we were bemoaning not so long ago that dumb, silly B-movie type stuff wasn't in the cinema. It was either huge, massive, like tentpole blockbusters,
right,
or like tiny, unwatchable Oscar contenders, and that was it.
Right.
But there seems to have been this growth. But it seems like a lot of people are going, you know what, we tried with the cinematic universe, right? And we can't do it. It costs loads of money. You get a load of flack for it.
I think it's even more simple than that.
So they go, fuck it. We'll just do a movie about The Rock beating up a gorilla.
But I think it's even more simple than that. I think that it's how do we compete with the Marvel Universe, right?
Right.
And really the only way that they've decided they can do it is more Jurassic Park movies, which is monsters hitting each other, Pacific Rim, which is robot monsters hitting each other, King Kong movies, which is monsters hitting each other, this movie, which is monsters hitting each other,
okay.
The Meg, which is hopefully Jason Statham punching sharks, right, in the neck, just repeatedly.
Hopefully it'll be a massive hit, but Statham won't return, and then like Liam Neeson will be in the sequel.
Yeah. And it'll be called Shark Throat Puncher.
Yeah. Or maybe Statham and Neeson can team up.
And the only other thing they've got is, well, what about we fling cars about? And that's the Fast and Furious. And that's really, in terms of blockbusters, that's your lot, mate. And then gender swap comedy action films.
And horror's making a comeback.
Blumhouse is doing high concept horror. And he's probably hitting it out the park once every 5 movies, but who cares? That's a fairly
it's
decent.
it's
And also, like, I watched the trailer of Happy Death Day and
I do quite
Truth or Dare, and I kind of go, I know they're going to be pish, but they're going to be like enjoyable, gory pish. Like,
that's true. There is a love of genre.
at least it's not them taking themselves seriously, and at least it's not the torture porn wank of the Hostel
that's
franchise.
true. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
At least Eli Roth isn't stinking up the joint.
Well, that's what I mean. There's a love of genre there. Like,
Right.
I feel like the people that rewrote Rampage, right, weren't being sniffy. They didn't try to like inject. Like, there was obviously like conservation themes and poachers and blah blah blah. And
Right.
they could have like, oh yeah, that's what it's about. That's what will make me sleep at night. No, it's people going, yeah, I love films where monsters beat up monsters. Let's just do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like it's good because the people that made it loved monster movies and loved the chance to be silly and a bit over the top.
Right.
And I'm all for that.
Also, what I also loved about it was that it wasn't like it was incredibly gory, but it wasn't one of those movies where like no one got eaten or no one got bruised. Like it wasn't
one of the best bits.
They were literally flinging people around.
How are they gonna like? Because it's a bit like there was a bit where the bad guys had a pretty strong plan for getting away with it.
The bad guys, by the way, which are entirely modelled on the Gene Hackman, Ned Beatty, Superman bad guys. They like live in a tower. She inexplicably changes into a sexy red dress halfway through for no reason whatsoever.
In order to escape.
And wears a fur coat and high heels trying to run up the top of a thing to get into a helicopter while at the same time monsters are eating the build. Like and they were like the guy who was her sidekick was always like her brother was always like sweating and eating Pop-Tarts. Like it was.
I like that. Every scene was like, you know what, we're gonna have him eat. It was like Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11. We haven't got a character for Brad. Can he just be eating sandwiches? Yeah, all right, that'll do. And they did that for the brother. But what was cool about that was that he clearly eats when he's nervous.
Right.
And he spends the whole film being nervous they're about to get caught and found out. So he's always eating something weird. And that was just like a really silly but fun touch. No, because it meant like we've only got the people involved. Like, we've only got a limited canvas here. Do you know what I mean? We've got like 5 minutes with this lot before we're back to the monsters. So instead of just having them go plot 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 plot, it's like let's just throw silly things in there.
Well, what was amazing
to make
was
it a bit more fun.
If you're going to do a movie like this, right?
Yeah.
I've no problem with incredibly over-the-top cartoon villainy.
Yes.
The only issue I actually had with it was the casting of Malin Ackerman. I feel like, for example, a Famke Janssen, after her turn in Goldeneye or whatever, could have had a lot more like.
I agree that actually
over the topness. Or I'm trying to think of someone else who could have had a lot of fun with it. I don't know what. I went Famke because A, I'd like to see her in more stuff because I actually kind of like it, and secondly, she was gleefully over the top as like a Bond villain. I think the brother was all right because he was sort of.
He was doing quite a good job as a sweaty nervous.
And he was kind of whatever. But Ackerman just didn't have the arched eyebrows or even the sexiness.
No.
Because they went, well, we'll give her dark hair. She's normally like blondie or strawberry blondie. And they went, well, we'll give her dark hair because she's a villain, so she has to have dark hair and be all like whatever. But she's not like.
She wasn't really having much fun.
She wasn't having any fun. Like, if anyone's the weak link, weirdly, it's her.
Yeah, I got
like in terms of performance.
Yeah, because the three of them, The Rock and I can't remember her name. Whoever's the doctor.
Miss Moneypenny.
Yeah.
It's the woman who plays Moneypenny in the new James Bond film.
Right. And
Jeffrey Gene Morgan.
And Jeffrey Gene Morgan.
I just called him Jeffrey Gene Morgan.
Yeah, well, that's better.
That's what he's called.
Jeffrey Gene. Are all having loads of fun.
It's my love.
I was thinking that too. They're all having, and her bit where like The Rock and Jeffrey Dean Morgan are like facing off. He goes, "Why don't you take these cuffs off, and I'll show you how friendly I am." Or whatever. So, put him on the plane. She goes, "Wow, it's so weird how he didn't take the cuffs off." That was your plan. It was a really like it's a standard like line like or even like. I thought they were going to do the whole like, oh yeah, it's a dick measuring contest or whatever. It was like, oh, or you could just stand there and see who's tougher. It was just like a funnier, better line.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. So weird how he didn't take the cuffs off. Like that was your plan.
But who could be a better villainess?
feel like you should go all in and cast like an actual comedian, like Tina Fey or something. Like, just, do you know what I mean? Like, actually, somebody who could really try and play it for as much laughs as could be run out.
Tina Fey would have been good.
Tina Fey would have been okay.
Tina Fey would have been good. Amy Poehler was one, like when they played the rival skaters in Blades of Glory, her and her ex-husband, what's his name? BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, from Arrested
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett, yeah.
Like when they were the petulant couple, brother and sister team, they were amazing.
I mean, I think any comedian could have done it, because I think it was there to be a funny character, like
or even like a Gillian Anderson or someone, like who's not like full-blown comedian, but she can kind of do.
Anderson could have done it. Yeah, she could have done it. Anybody that wanted to have fun, like vamping up a bit. I think the problem is, actually, it's not that she wasn't having fun, but she just. I think you need to have presence.
Right.
You know what I mean? To be like that evil and be having that much fun being evil.
Right.
You need to be like talented and have presence.
Yeah.
Because then you can kind of divorce yourself from how evil they're being.
Yeah.
Like Hackman or even Hopkins to a certain extent. Like, just enjoy how evil they're being.
Also, I hate to say this, but like, it was a little. I mean, it's all implausible. It's giant flying wolves, but I felt like the brother and sister team also needed to be a little older. I'm kind of, I'm also glad that they got rid of the sexy blonde chick at the beginning, because it immediately started to bother me that they were going to maybe have The Rock's love interest literally be 30 years younger than him. Like, that was going to bother me. And I miss, like, when you watch Superman as a prime example, like, no one in that movie is particularly, like, young and sexy. Like, they're all, I mean, yeah, obviously Christopher Reeves is a good-looking guy, right? And, you know, Margot Kidder plays the, like, ballsy, brassy Lois Lane, right? But none of them are fucking swimwear models, you know what I mean? Like, they're actors. And Hackman is, like, weird with his wigs and everything, and Ned Beatty is this, like, sweaty, fat guy in, like, Floridian, like, pale blue suits and stuff. And Lorraine Bracco is like one. Is it Lorraine Bracco? No. Valerie Perrin, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Valerie Perrin is like wandering around being mad and shrill. And you're just like, yeah, it's all a bit hokey, but like these are people. They're like mad looking, weird looking, cool looking people. It's not like a bunch of fucking tweens who just fell off the bus into Hollywood. And someone went, yeah, stick her in a tight t-shirt.
I do. That's one thing I genuinely hate, though. That trope of well, she graduated from university and then she travelled around the world and then she was in special forces and now she's a general. She's a 23-year-old actress, what she is. Trying to pretend she's got any kind of a backstory is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But fair enough, she's a prodigy. Okay, but don't be giving her like, oh, she's grizzled and she's seen the world. Well, she's a 23-year-old actress.
Yeah, I hate
that.
I had a real problem lately. Bob Odenkirk made a movie for Netflix that was about greeting card. It was like a ridiculous farce, like a violent comedy farce about a greeting card writer who's laid off, and then the mayor of the town announces that there's going to be a girlfriend day, and then Stacy Keach as a mad greeting card mogul and a bunch of other people are all chasing down Bob Odenkirk to get like this mythical greeting card that he wrote for Girlfriend's Day. And it's kind of like a wacky, weird, wonderful movie. Except what really bugged me, you know, Bob Odenkirk, right? I don't know what age he is. He's got to be in his 50s by now. But he's not like the slick, good-looking 50s guy. He's a schlub. Like, even as a skinny guy, he's fairly schlubby. He's either colorizing his hair or wearing a toque or, like, has plugs. Like, he's pretty thin on top, right? And he's a sad sack. In the movie especially, he's a sad sack who'll get like beaten up or whatever. And I looked it up. All the like actresses who come onto him in the movie are all like 25 years younger than him. And I'm thinking, if anyone could cast more interesting older people, it's a madcap made for Netflix comedian-driven movie where it's not about like how pretty you are, it's about how funny you can be, right? And yet instead they went, no, let's get
Because
Amber
if Bob
Watson.
Odenkirk made the movie, and like I don't know Bob, obviously, but my bet is if he made the movie, he's like, what? No. I mean, all I'm saying is, what if the people that were coming on to me in the scenes were really attractive? Bob, I'm just not sure that. No, but whose movie is this?
No, I get it. No.
Do you know what I mean?
I completely and utterly understand. I do get it, but like,
No, I know. It's
I just think in 2018 there are better ways to go about it.
I agree. No, I agree with you. It bothers me.
And it's not like there aren't 40-year-old, 50-year-old, and 60-year-old actresses that aren't beautiful,
Yeah, or
interesting,
or better actors,
or better actors.
Yeah, well, that's true. But still, I hope there is a Rampage 2.
Oh yeah, hands down.
I will definitely go and see it.
Right.
If they've got any brains, it'll be Rampage 2 in space.
Right. No. Let's wait for 3 or 4 to go into space.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't blow your space wad this early in a franchise.
That I think is the quote of the podcast right there. You can't blow your space wad this early in the franchise.
This early in the franchise.
Friday the 13th waited until 10.
In 2, I think what you have to do is you either have to go South America, Europe, or maybe like the Antarctic.
Like Paris, maybe, like have it climbing.
Giant rats attack Paris.
Giant rats attack Paris.
Yeah.
There it is.
Writes itself, mate.
It does write itself.
Yeah. And I don't know, like The Rock jumps the Atlantic Ocean or something. Like he's like, I've got to get to Paris in the next 2 hours.
Steals the Channel Tunnel train?
No, he's in America. He's in like New York visiting a daughter we don't know he has. Right. Or their new daughter. They've just had a daughter. They've just had a baby, right? And they're all going on a holiday to Europe. Right.
But the daughter gets kidnapped by giant rats.
So, yeah.
And he has to punch every giant rat in Paris to get his daughter back.
Yeah. Either that or they get to the point... No, even better. They get to the point where any animal infected with the serum that bites another animal, that animal also becomes infected with the serum.
Oh, like a
zombie thing, but with giant mutant animals.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, because actually, if you think about it, they only had 3 monsters.
Right.
2, really, once George was under control.
Right.
The only way is up from 2.
So you have to... So for the sequel, increase the monster count.
Yeah.
Set it abroad somewhere, and I don't mind where you go.
Well, Americans don't mind if it all gets leveled.
You could go, if you want to... Obviously, action movies, monster movies, they play well in the Asian market. Go to Tokyo. You know, Fast and Furious, by part 3, they'd done Florida, they went straight to Tokyo, they blew their Asian wad early, and then they brought it all back home again, and then drove cars out of planes and landed them perfectly on a mountain road. I mean, I really don't see the problem there. So what I'm saying is, we go Asia or we go Europe. Right. In fact, fuck it. Part 2's in Europe, part 3's in Asia. Part 4 is in the Arctic. Like a frozen tundra, he's fighting like mutant polar bears and whatever.
So, okay.
A polar bear octopus hybrid or something.
I feel like that needs to be like the Statham sequel.
In the Arctic. And then, oh my god, what if they did a Meg Rampage 3 crossover?
Is it the same studio? Is it Warner Brothers?
It's Warner Brothers.
They might be thinking about that. Because The Rock and Statham were in Fast and Furious together,
and they're doing, the Fast and Furious is having a spin-off series which is going to be The Rock and Statham as partners. I'm not even kidding, that's actually happening.
Well, as long as it's not directed by the same guy, I might watch that.
So if that goes well, I'm thinking a Megalodon 2...
God, they might be thinking about
crossover
that, if it does well enough.
With Rampage 3, which then crosses over with Skull Island, Kong Skull Island.
I think you can have 2 giant apes. It's not going to work.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Also, you're going to have to get Hiddleston in there for reasons that...
Fuck Hiddleston.
Yeah.
He is... That movie is so much fun when the monsters are hitting each other. Everything else about that movie, from Samuel L. Jackson's incredibly cliched, repetitive turn that we've seen him do a bazillion times by now, to John Goodman being horribly underused, and to Hiddleston and what's her name, the blandest woman in Blandtown, who's going to be Captain Marvel.
I liked...
Who's
the soldier that had been there for years and years and years?
Oh, John C. Reilly.
Yeah, he was great. He was really good.
Yeah. So number 4, Rampage 4 is in space. Rampage 5 is back down to Earth.
Right.
Bring in apostrophe it back down to Earth.
Or maybe it's set
in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rock and George have been cryogenically frozen just in case it ever happens again.
Yes. And they get no, because the space one has to remember them falling into a black hole.
Oh.
And then when they come out the other side,
I love the way you go. The fourth one has to end with them falling into a black hole.
Then they're going to end up in like a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Okay.
Run by giant rats, where humans are enslaved by giant rats.
Oh, it's like a flip on 1984
and Planet of the Apes.
And Planet of the Apes,
where their only hope is The Rock and his giant gorilla friend.
But then. But wait, no, I was going to go somewhere with it, and then we tailed off onto...
I'm sorry you felt that my contribution was tailing off.
No. I mean, we went off... So I'm trying to think what part 6 would be now.
Star Trek crossover?
No, part 6, they clone George.
Yeah.
Or they weld George and The Rock together.
No, the Rock's left. The Rock's left by part 6.
No. Part 6... The Rock takes the serum and becomes a giant rock.
There was a moment in the movie when The Rock got shot, and again, that was like left over from another script, because The Rock gets shot and then it literally does not matter at all. That he gets shot.
I don't think you realise he did occasionally hold his stomach, and that stops bullets.
But I felt, did you not think that there was maybe a version of the script where they had him get shot and then he took the serum?
Yes, definitely.
To regenerate, and then he went a bit mad and hulky, and they kept, for inexplicable reasons, they kept him being shot because they liked like the rhythm. Because in the moment, having her like shoot him and put him down was quite shocking.
No. I know what it is.
What?
Her death, right?
Oh, had to be deserved.
Needs to be deserved.
Yeah.
Right? And the only way you can deserve the death...
You have to see her trying to kill somebody.
Right, because she's already said it. She's already said earlier in the movie, why can't I just have them terminated? And he says, you can't terminate all your problems. And she's like, yes, I can.
Yeah, you're right.
And
yeah,
so,
that makes sense, yeah. Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
she has a particularly horrible death. Now, it's the death that allows George to live.
But I can't remember the last time I actively cheered when a bad guy
got eaten by a giant gorilla.
got their comeuppance.
Yeah.
It's not an easy...
Also, I love the way now where it's just like the government's just like, well, I guess we let Rock keep the giant gorilla then. I mean, what could go wrong?
We'll ignore the bits where you murdered people and threw the tanks around.
Maybe the second one, the giant rat, kills a whole bunch of people.
Right.
And because they don't know about the giant rat yet, and he hasn't shown up on any radar for whatever
Blame
reason.
George.
They blame George, and it becomes like a fugitive story.
Yes.
And they have to find the giant rat in order to clear his name.
Yeah, so they've got to hide out in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
They've got to scrabble around for change.
George has
it's
to
like
wear...
Midnight Run
right.
meets The Fugitive.
And The Rock gets George an oversized Trilby hat and overcoat, and he pretends to be
I actually really want to see this movie. Where with him trying to hide, you know what I mean, in a doorway. And by doorway we mean massive arch or something.
Yeah.
I quite want to see that movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they blame... So they have to go on the run to prove their innocence. Can we just leave it there? Because that's such a good idea for a sequel. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Then 3, we have the mutant rats take over.
Listen, Warner Brothers, right? We have got the copyright on the Fugitive Midnight Run sequel to Rampage.
Right. Where along the way, in order to prove just how wonderful he is, George saves children who have fallen.
No, George has to go back home. Do you know what I mean? And to reconnect or something.
But he has no family left. All his family were murdered.
No, but there'll be his pack or whatever, where he'll stand on the clearing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he'll just look at them from a distance.
Yeah.
And The Rock will be like, "Are you okay, man?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm okay. Let's have to come home.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then as he walks away, the family turn around.
Oh, in the 4th one, the one that's in space,
right?
They have some space science, which is a thing, that allows George to finally talk.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by
Kelsey Grammer.
Amazing. That's actually given me a head rush. I laughed so hard that my chest caved in and my head rushed.
So that's it. No, 3 should be in space. That's 1, 2, and 3. That's the trilogy sorted.
No. 3 is Giant Mutant Rats take over either Paris or Tokyo.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have the zombie story where they bite each other to become more.
I think.
No, hang on. Part 3 is Zombie City Takeover. Part 4 is in space.
But The Rock's not going to stick around for Part 4. They'll recast it with Shia LaBeouf.
No, fuck Shia LaBeouf.
But I'm just saying that's what's going to happen.
No, they recast it with John Cena.
John Cusack.
No, it's got to be someone even more lumpy and ridiculous than The Rock.
Is there anybody more lumpy and ridiculous?
Yeah, John Cena is more lumpy and ridiculous than The Rock.
Arnie? Like lumpy, ridiculous, and old.
I
like the gorillas, like, I don't know.
If when all their other...
I don't know how long gorillas live, right? But presumably, like by Part 4. Right?
No, he lives forever because he's
George
got the
is
serum.
going on a bit.
No, he's got the serum.
It'd be quite fun if it like an old gorilla and an old Schwarzenegger being like sign languaging we're too old for this shit.
In which case, the gorilla has to be voiced by Stallone.
And this time, every time the gorilla like thumps a building, he goes, "Oh, me back!" Do you know what I mean? Every time he hits punches a building in the face.
Then in which case,
he picks up a tank and he goes, "Oh!" He does his back in picking up a train to throw at another monster.
The gorilla is now voiced by Sylvester Stallone, surely.
Yes.
And Arnie plays the Arnie. No, well, wait a minute. I thought we had like cryogenically frozen Rock, who then
I'm
comes.
just saying, there's no way the Rock sticks around past Part 3.
Of course.
That's why I think Part 3, where the gorilla learns to talk.
Do you realise how many episodes of Fast and Furious he's been in?
That's true.
He's been in like 4 of those already.
Yeah, but he only turns up for like 10 minutes, doesn't he?
No, he's in the whole thing. He's become like part of the team inexplicably, even though he had this whole career as a cop.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, we've sorted the Rampage franchise. Warner Brothers lawyers, come talk to us.
Space,
We'll set you right.
End of that one, falls in a wormhole. 5th one, post-apocalyptic robot mutants.
Yeah.
And then 6th one, grumpy old.
6th one, the gorilla goes and has to go undercover teaching at a kindergarten. And it's like an inexplicable kids movie.
It's Kindergarten Cop 3.
Kindergarten Gorilla.
Kindergarten Gorilla 3.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about that. I think that's silly.
Okay. All right,
that, thanks so much for that.
Well, that was brilliant. Thanks again, man. I don't know what we're going to go see next week on this crazy cinematic journey of ours.
Well, that skyscraper one's coming out soon, isn't it?
I said summer on the poster.
Maybe we don't do. Well, maybe we do Quiet Place. I don't know.
If there's something else,
but
I'll happily go see
I do have
Place.
like 3 in the chamber now. I have this one. I have Hard Times, and I have a Black Panther episode recorded with my friend David.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, we're in a hurry then.
I say we still keep doing them, though.
Of course, we're going to keep doing them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Because at some point we're going to be like, I'm really knackered and I can't be asked, and then you'll have stuff to put out anyway.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
On this rampaging journey through a franchise not yet composed that can only fulfill our hopes and dreams for many years to come.
Yeah, sounds good to me, mate.
Everyone go watch Rampage now so that I can write the sequel.
Thanks, man.
Well, back in 2011, I find a movie going to see. A film by Jim Jarmusch starring Iggy Pop and me. But when the show was over, I'd nowhere to go, so I'd end up in a bar, sipping my bourbon and feeling low. One night, this wild-looking guy called Frank came over and asked me why I looked so sad as I drank. I told him about my post-movie blues, and then I saw the light in his glass eyes. He told me to go to the After movie diner, I'm surprised you don't know there's no Blaze Spider. Come on now, let's go. Well, Mr. John Croswell, he's a man with a beard and a man with a plan. Yeah, yes. With Jim and John and Adam Mark, tune in to Fletch Cobbler to start. Yes, and reviews, opinions, interviews, comedy and news, Don Doler and his films, and George Stover at the After Movie Diner. Now it's 5 years old. There's nowhere vital. That's the place to go. Oh, the After Movie Diner is where I go. Oh, that After Movie Diner, it's one hell of a show. I just killed that rattlesnake with skillet pan.